Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. Well, very, very interesting that James Gunn has debunked a very interesting Batman, the Brave and the Bold rumour. There was a rumour coming from some site or some idiots saying that Muschietti, who's still tapped to be directing Brave and the Bold, that, he will be co-writing this movie with the writer of Alien Romulus. Romulus, should I say. Now, this is very interesting because my stomach sunk when I heard that, and I was very angry because I don't want Andres Muschietti or Andy Muschietti anywhere near this movie. I trusted Andy when he was doing The Flash, and he bent the knee to Gunn, he bent the knee to WB. Look at the shit he fucking gave us. Luckily, James Gunn has debunked this rumour, thankfully, so there's still a chance that my theory may come true, that Andy Muschietti will not be directing this movie. But what movie? There isn't a Brave and the Bold movie because nothing is actually happening. He's shooting Superman. Supergirl is next. The Authority will probably come after that. There is nothing going on with Brave and the Bold. It's as simple as that. But I don't want Muschietti anywhere near this movie. He kind of did okay with Keaton's Batman. I get the impression that Keaton was very strict with what was done there and what wasn't. And as I've already said, the only problem with that film is that Keaton is far too old. If Superman's old and he's still got powers, right? If he's Keaton's age but he's still got powers, you can see why he's doing what he's doing. But Keaton's like what? An 80-year-old dude or whatever he is. And he was jumping all over the place. It was ridiculous. He would have had a fucking hernia. He would have had an heart attack. It was ridiculous. But I don't want Muschietti. I wasn't impressed what he did with Batfleck at all. I thought Batfleck's costume was shit. I didn't like Batfleck in the Flash movie one little bit. It just seemed like they brought him in and I don't think there was much rehearsal time. When he's talking to Barry, it just doesn't feel real. It's like they're just going through the motions. A lot of people like that. I didn't. It didn't seem right. There didn't seem to be a vibe, a storytelling movie vibe to it. So I don't want Muschietti anywhere near Brave and the Bold. I believe if this man actually writes or directs this movie, we are looking at a fucking calamity. You need someone who understands Batman. It's interesting when you look at the dame writing, adapting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I don't know much about her. I think she's doing other stuff as well. She's doing Teen Titans as well. I don't really know what knowledge she has. That'll be interesting. Now, he's bringing in some people who understand DC, which is great. But I don't understand why Muschietti was ever attached to Brave and the Bold. Well, I know it was a trick to try and get more people hyped so they would go and watch The Flash, because they really tried to convince us that the Flash movie was kind of very important because it was going to change DC films forever. And indeed it has, because there is some kind of Flashpoint scenario, which leads us to James Gunn's new DC universe. We already know that. That's what Muschietti was doing as well. He was going to relaunch the DCEU via the Flash movie. So it's kind of the same thing. Gunn's plan isn't that different to Hamada's plan if you talk about, if you think about how he used the Flash movie. Gunn made the Flash movie a worse movie than it already was. There's a much better Flash movie there. Because I saw the test screening. I know. It's like I know about Wonder Woman 84. I know that Wonder Woman 84, the test screening I saw, was a much better movie. But they ruined it. It wasn't very good. I'm not saying it was brilliant or as good as the first one, but it was better. And they cut it to pieces. And Gunn cut to pieces those DCEU movies. So of course they didn't stand a chance last year. And I would say to James Gunn, I'm not scared of anyone. I'm not intimidated by famous people. I've been around celebrities and famous people all my life. So it doesn't matter to me. I treat you as an ordinary person. Because just because you're well known, it doesn't mean you're different. It doesn't mean you're above me or above other fans. And if Gunn was here right now, I'd say, sorry, James, you can't allow Andy Muschietti to direct Brave and the Bold. He's not the right guy to direct it, but he will do as he's told. That's why he's there. He will do what James Gunn wants him to do. So if he does remain on this movie, that's why. But there's nothing going on with this movie. There is no planning. You would have thought Superman, Batman, yeah? But he's going Superman, Supergirl, the Authority, because the Authority are going to be huge in this universe. Very important to Gunn. I know nothing about them. They do sound interesting. Again, it sounds like a typical kind of way that Gunn normally works with his kind of CBMs, but we'll see. But Andy Muschietti, I didn't see anything in the Flash movie that told me Andy Muschietti is a brilliant director. And I did think that Andy Muschietti, because, you know, It 2, or It Chapter 1, Chapter 2 was a bit, you know, iffy, but It Chapter 1 was a pretty good movie. So I'm not going to say he's not a good director, but, you know, there's one thing to do an It movie, and there's another thing to do a Flash movie. Now, the Flash movie being shit isn't totally on Muschietti. I agree with that. But he's a company man, and he will do whatever he's asked. And this is the problem with connected fucking universes like what Fake does, and now with what Gunn's doing. They will just do as they're told. Should I tell you the difference between the DC Extended Universe when Snyder was running it and the difference between Feige and Gunn? Snyder actually allowed David Ayer to do what he wanted to do. Yes, he did a Feige and he did a Gunn where he wanted certain things to happen. He wanted Steppenwolf teased in that Suicide Squad movie. So the movie that David Ayer did, not that, I still think it's an okay movie, but, you know, we would have got a better movie, right, with a symphonic score, and we would have seen Steppenwolf. So, you know, Zack would have wanted certain things done to tease Justice League in the future of his DC Extended Universe. But the film that David made was his, written and directed. The difference with Gunn is he is in control of these movies. He will be coming on that set. Look at Peacemaker 2. He's been crossing over at the weekend to make sure it's in sync, because it's his at the end of the day, right? But this is what he's going to do on all the movies. There's no freedom for any director working on that movie. It's his. It's his vision. It's going to go down. And if, you know, if you're fine with that, then you're fine with that. Personally, when a director directs something, and if you've got a writer and a director, you want the writer and the director working together, I prefer writer-directors because it's one vision, and I think that's a really, really good thing. This is why I don't like connected universes. I was brought up, where, someone would, you'd either have a director and a writer on the same fucking page, or you had a writer-director, and we had films by individuals who had visions, right? RoboCop is a beautiful vision of a dystopian, fucked up future, and it's beautiful. And that director, Paul Verhoeven, is fucking nuts, but that's why he created a great movie. I mean, you want a lunatic like Verhoeven making movies, right? And I mean, I don't think anyone had a good time making RoboCop, but they're proud of it now. You should check out that documentary, RoboDoc. It's fucking amazing. I think it's on Prime Video, so check that out. But this is the problem. At first when they announced Muschietti, I thought, yeah, It movie. It's going to be his vision. He's doing Flashpoint. But then we suddenly realized he was just following orders. I was just following orders. So he's not a guy who's going to give you a creative vision. I think there's some people who actually believe that Andy Muschietti is a visionary. I don't believe that he is. I think he did a good It movie. But as I say, there's a difference between that and somebody else's connected universe. As I say, connected universes are a problem to me. Let's look, right, if you want to look at the old connected universes, right? So you look at the Bond movies, right? You know, they used to take each book, but they weren't connected, right? You didn't have to really care about continuity or anything like that. So as you adapt the next one and the next one, and it was his own story. And some people used to complain that they weren't connected, that there wasn't an arc. And then I appreciated it when Craig's movies were interconnected, but they executed that wrong. So like James Bond before Marvel and the MCU is the longest running franchise going out there, right? But they weren't worried about connectivity or cameos or that shit. All they cared about was making a great movie. Now, Gunn claims this is what he wants to do, that you don't have to do homework, that these shouldn't be homework, that first and foremost, they will be great movies. We will see. Gunn is a filmmaker. I think a lot of the things he says are right. He understands that the industry has become shit in the past 3 decades. And he works with his own people. I don't think he's the same as a lot of these fucktards out there. But he's also a company man. He's also a studio man. And he's there to make Zaslav Discovery and Warner Brothers a lot of money. I don't know if he will. Only time will tell there. But connected universes are very, very stringent these days. So as I say, you look at Star Wars, you look at Indiana Jones, you look at Back to the Future, right? They're telling stories. That's it. And they're telling good stories. Is a connected universe about telling good stories, or is it about bringing in people and selling merch and games and getting people in cinemas and subscribing to Max? It should be both. Because I'm not a fucktard. I understand that this is a business and they need to make money. I get that. And the only way to make money is to make a good product. Something they don't really understand these days. But it's a connected universe. I've just given you a cameo. What else do you want? A good fucking movie I can enjoy. So, yeah, I don't want Muschietti anywhere near Brave and the Bold. And if he's removed, I'll be very, very happy. But the one thing that scares me is because he's a company man, because he will do whatever Gunn wants, that he won't be removed. That's something I'm starting to realise. But it's interesting where the Muschietti and the Alien Romulus writer, you know, adapting a script for Brave and the Bold came from. I don't even think it's in Muschietti's toolbox to make a fun, fantastical Batman movie. I don't even think he's the right guy. I think the Spider-Man, you know, the Spider-Man animated people, you know, what's his, Miller and the other guy, right? Lord and Miller, who nearly did the Flash movie, right? Who have done so many great things. I think Lord and Miller, if Lord and Miller did Brave and the Bold, I'd be fucking happy. Because they're lunatics. But they know, you know, I like their lunacy. Do you know what I mean? If Lord and Miller did Brave and the Bold, that I would actually have faith in what James Gunn's doing. But this guy, yes, he'll follow orders, but is he going to give the movie that we need? And then it goes back to the elephant in the room that we've got the Batman and we got this movie. You know, Gunn was asked about Matt Reeves' script for the Batman 2. He's still working on it. Now, we know that Matt is a notorious slow writer anyway. But I did make a prediction that Pattinson will be the DC Universe Batman as well, and that's why nothing's happening with Brave and the Bold. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting developing situation with Brave and the Bold. We may never see the Brave and the Bold we think we're going to see. You know, there's another way of doing this. If you want 2 separate Batman universes, I mean, it will be insane, and, you know, people will be laughing at me. You know, Pattinson could make Reeves' movie, them being Brave and the Bold, but play a different multiversal version. Which means in one Earth, he's there, but then he still looks the same, but he's a different Batman. That will be a pretty nifty idea, but it will be a lot of work for Robert Pattinson. I feel, as I said to you last week, two separate Batmen is simply not going to work. This is something they have to address. I suspect, if I'm wrong about my theory about Pattinson being the DC Universe Batman, this is what's going to happen. You won't even see a Brave and the Bold movie until the Batman 2 has been released. Released in cinema, then digital, then physical. You won't see Brave and the Bold. You may not see Brave and the Bold till 2030. It could be that long. Because when are we getting the Batman? 2026? Yeah, so maybe we'll get 2027, 2028. 2028, I would think. God, how old will I be then? I might, fucking hell, man. I'll be nearly fucking 60. Jesus Christ, that's a depressing thought, isn't it? I'm just going to sulk, don't mind me. But yeah. So I don't think we're going to get a Brave and the Bold movie for a while. And fans are seething, they want to hear news about Brave and the Bold, and they're not getting it. And you're not going to get any news, right? The only thing that's happening is what's happening. First three movies are Superman, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and The Authority. That's what you're getting in the near future. You may not like me saying this, that Brave and the Bold won't happen till way after the Batman 2 is released. Unless they combine two movies, which is one of my theories. As I say, it's very, very interesting. But there's a reason. I mean, you agree with me, right? Nothing's happening with Brave and the Bold. Absolutely nothing is happening. It's tumbleweed. Nothing's happening. So, there's a reason for that. Because they know they can't release two Batman movies back to back. They can't release two Batman movies at the same time. This is not James Gunn's fault. He inherited this issue. Because guess what? Hamada's plan was to have Matt Reeves doing his thing over there separately, and Keaton, to be involved with Batgirl and all of that, not have his own movie probably. And I think, they were doing something with Batman and Batgirl, and I think in the end, Keaton's Batman would have been killed off, and there would have been no Batman in the DCEU. And I think they would have kept Matt Reeves' Batman over there. That was the idea. Don't forget, there wasn't going to be a Superman in the DCEU after the Flash movie either. The idea was to have a black Superman over, Ta-Nehisi Coates, J.J. Abrams' Black Superman movie, maybe movies, while Supergirl was the representative for the House of L in the new DCEU from the Flash onwards. Dumb ideas, of course. These are dumb fucking people. Look what happened. Look what happened last year. Now, James Gunn isn't a dumb man, and he's a talented man. That's one thing you can say about him. But he knows there's not much hype around DC Universe unless you're a passionate DC fan. Outside of the DC fandom, the people who were getting excited about The Flash and Blue Beetle, the movies that flopped. Apart from that, there is no fucking hype. So what he did yesterday, he showed us that Chris Pratt was there visiting the set of Superman. This is desperate, hype. They're looking for hype because there isn't none. So, because Chris Pratt's come to visit the set, you don't have to post it on Instagram, do you? It's desperation. There is no hype. That's why I said they would be happy with my prediction for Superman of $500 to $550 million. They'd be well happy with that. Because, as I say, I think it's a cheap movie. I don't think it's going to cost that much money. But everything's going to be interesting when we see what's going on. But, yeah, definitely they're trying. There is not much hype outside of the, immediate DC fandom for these movies. It's as simple as that. The general audience don't care, about generic superhero movies. Yes, they care about Deadpool and Wolverine, right? They're going to watch that. But that doesn't mean they're interested in everything CBM. You've got to concede that. We saw Spider-Man No Way Home make a bucket, then what happened? Nothing. It depends on the movie now. I think before, when the MCU was peak, you could make anything CBM and it will bring in a little bit of money. But that's not the case now. Even with the MCU, you can't just release any MCU movie or, Disney Plus series and people come running. Those days have gone. The rules are the same for CBMs as they are for all movies. Make a great movie, we'll come and see it. If you don't, we ain't gonna fucking bother. That is the message from the consumer. And you can shit on the consumer all you want, but the consumer doesn't owe New Hollywood anything. New Hollywood owe us cheese without any fucking mould on it. So it'll be interesting. So I think 500, 550 for Superman. But Andy Muschietti absolutely scares the living shit out of me with this movie. He's one of the remaining dribblings of the Hamadaverse as well. That's another reason I don't want him involved. But I've always said this, haven't I? The DC Universe is basically the DCEU. The people who are running that after Snyder left are still behind the scenes making certain decisions. If Muschietti stays, I don't even think Gunn, let's be honest, Gunn didn't decide that Muschietti should direct Brave and the Bold. I don't think that was his decision. He was it's more of a Peter Safran decision. You know why? Because Safran was part of the Hamadaverse. Are you seeing? Are you seeing? Are you listening to the tune from my song sheet? Do you see? That's the problem. Gunn didn't make that decision. No way. That's not Gunn's man. That's not Gunn's director. I think he concedes certain ground when it's not important to him. Because he knows Muschietti will direct the movie that he wants him to. And he isn't going to give them problems. That's why he was put in charge. Was it a token gesture? Would he remain on the movie? Well, it's not a movie right now. They're not casting for a Batman. They're not casting for anyone. And as I've been doing for a long time now, you have to ask why. You have to ask the right questions. You can't just be a shill. You've got to question things. Because I warn you about what's going to happen before it happens, and then you go, oh my God, Mick was right. Well, of course Mick was right. I'm not fucking Nostradamus, as I keep on telling you. It's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious. Why is there no work being done on Brave and the Bold? Why isn't it the second DC movie, or even the third DC movie? It's not. There's nothing going on with that movie, and this is why you're getting these bullshit rumours, because people are trying to will something to happen. And by the way, to the person on Twitter who complained about James Gunn for saying, that rumour about Muschietti and the writer of Alien Romulus co-writing Brave and the Bold, he's basically having a go at Gunn for saying it's not true. That's good. Oh, he says, why can't you just let these rumours, get people excited? It's a lie. Who wants that anyway? Who wants that? Who wants Muschietti and the writer of Alien Romulus, that looks like a very generic movie to me, writing a Batman movie? So nothing's going on there. You're going to have to wait a long time for Brave and the Bold if you actually get it. But as long as Gunn stays quiet on it, there's going to be people spreading little rumours. So it's right that he debunks these things. People should not be fed bullshit. Gunn's right for being strict on that. You can't have a go at James Gunn for debunking things. Of course he's got to debunk things. Come on. Come on, everyone. We've got to make sure that people are well informed. This is what my channel's always attempted to do. Because you're coming onto YouTube or TikTok and you're seeing so much clickbait. Clickbait isn't what I'm about. I don't hunger for loads of views. I hunger for intelligent people who want, who want to hear what I've got to say, but also want accurate information. I've always given you accurate information. If I've been wrong, I've said I've been wrong. I'm wrong. And if I haven't, I apologise. But I would never purposely misinform you, because it's not good for business. It's not good for the relationship between, subscriber and content creator. I do care. I don't think I'm more important than you just because I've got the confidence to do a video. That's the difference. And all these super dudes, when I argue with them, I've got popular content, they actually come on here and make fun of my YouTube. Why? What are you laughing at? What are you fucking laughing at? What's so funny? Because I'm honest? Because I've got a Cockney British accent? And I don't talk like this? What's your problem? No disrespect to any Americans. But I think there's I think we need more British content creators. Like me. I love DC, I love entertainment, I love TV, and I love movies. What are you laughing at? Because I don't get a lot of likes. Because I don't need my ego padded. I'm here telling it how it is from my point of view and informing people honestly and genuinely. If you want to be lied to by people, there's plenty of fucking people who are after your money. Here, it's about my opinion and being honest with you with the facts. I've told you from the beginning, I didn't think that Muschietti would make this movie. I'm starting to think maybe he will now, just because he's the good man, he's the company man who will do what he's told. And that frightens me. I don't think, everyone says about that Batmobile chase sequence in The Flash. It was all right. It was all right. Was it as good as the Batmobile scene in BVS at night time? No, because that's the best one ever, apart from the one in Batman 89, when Batman's going after Joker's goons. Do you remember it? It's fucking awesome. That's awesome as well. And there's obviously the Nolan stuff, which is awesome as well. But I don't think Muschietti did anything special with Batman in the Flash movie. I think he's a generic director. And as I say, well done for, it, but that doesn't mean anything. These are CBMs. It's different. And I know it's not all his fault that The Flash was a bad movie. I concede that. But he worries me because he won't fight for what he wants. Because this is the most worrying factor of Muschietti being involved. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't have a vision. He's like the director you get on a TV episode, right? It's not his show, it's not his vision. He just comes to direct it, reads the script, makes sure everything's right, talks to the showrunners, then moves on, right? Now that works on a TV show. But on a movie, it's impersonal. I find franchises these days very impersonal. It's why I don't like the MCU. It's watch this, then it's the next one. Forget that now, it's the next one. It's episodic. I used to like that. I wanted DC to succeed like that. I think the episodic nature of the DCEU was interesting. It was more exciting because they did focus on each movie, because that's the morality, the filmmaking morality and artistic integrity of Zack Snyder. That's why I enjoyed Zack's 3 DC movies. And if they allowed Zack to cook, it would have been fucking awesome. But oh no, everyone wanted this. A soulless, connected franchise. And that's exactly what you're going to get. James Gunn is from the MCU. So what do you think you're going to get? What possible different thing do you think you can get? He learned everything he knows from the MCU. And already we've got all these cameos in Superman. So it's there. What I'm saying is right. We're seeing, they're not even cameos. They're playing a big role in Superman. All these other DC characters. I've never seen the like of that before in a Superman movie. Not in the Reeves movies. Not in the Cavill Man of Steel movie. Not in Returns. I've never seen the likes of this before. all these DC characters populate. I understand he wants a living, breathing DC universe. As I said before, that's kind of exciting. But that's one of the aspects that really concerns me.